Hello, Maverick traders, and welcome out to your daily currency recap. This is Ankit here, and I'll be breaking down today's market price action. It's a Tuesday, February the 18th. Let's get into it. As always, we'll be taking a look at broader market analysis, take a look at what moved the market, see what the currency basket is telling us, look at the news events, and then most importantly, talk about our upcoming next 24 hours here. Let's get into it.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So looking at the market analysis, let's just jump right into the headlines and the numbers. As you can see that the markets were just quiet today overall. So we went from this higher volatility market to now lower intraday volatility. We just have that lower volatility across the board. So it doesn't matter. You take a look at the equity markets or you take a look at currency markets, even the bond markets, everything seems to be quieter now. As we take a look at the news events, we had the RBA rate statement last night. They cut by 25 basis points, but it was a hawkish cut, meaning that they weren't as dovish in their outlook. They were more cautious in their outlook. So that didn't really cause a big move in the Australian dollar overall. Now, if you take a look at the numbers, I must say that this is where it becomes less interesting to see, nothing substantial happening in the markets. The biggest move today was really the Kiwi down 0.35%. Looks like Kiwi is weakening ahead of the RBNZ rate statement that's due tonight. And again, they are expected to cut rates by 50 basis points. So, the RBNZ is the one that seems like they're more dovish. So they're more aggressive. So we'll see what happens. But again, we'll be taking a look at what their statement is. Now, outside of that, you can see Australian dollar. That's the one that I was kind of watching, and that on a currency basket still end up closing positive. Now, outside of that, again, these are really small moves, 0.27% on the CAD. Here we are, dollar jumping a little bit as well. And then you can see even the yen was pretty quiet. So overall, not an exciting day, just a quiet range bound moves. Now, if you take a look at the equity markets, kind of see the same thing. Well, if you take a look at some of the gains for the equity markets, that just came in the last 10 minutes for the day. So overall, it was a very quiet day. Now, crypto markets was quiet as well. We're looking at gold markets continue to be on fire here, resuming the uptrend here. And then we're looking at oil slightly up. So it seems like we have this hit this polar vortex. Everything's kind of gotten down to the low percentage change. Here we are in the crypto market. You can see everything else was pretty weak, and then here we are, Litecoin outperforming. So that's really what's going on in the crypto market. Again, nothing spectacular as far as the percentage goes. So where do we stand as far as the market outlook goes? Now, if you take a look at the chart, we are constantly trying to break above that resistance. As you can see that we closed right up against that resistance. So until we get that breakout and that confirmation, I think we want to be, looking at this a little bit more cautiously. That's just really where we are in the market structure. Again, this thing has been, we're in this consolidation phase for an extended period of time. So we need to get that confirmation on the breakout, not just closing here, but need to get that big breakout to the upside. So at this point, again, I won't be surprised if we attempt to break out or we just have an inside candle tomorrow or turn lower. That's just the nature of these range-bound market conditions. Now, if you take a look at the news events, again, we have a handful of news events to go through. As we are seeing the global volatility sort of, coming down, we have to sort of rely on news events and see if there's, decent opportunities off of it. And remember, the big movement happened if there was a surprise. As you can see that, not a whole lot of surprise. We had the Canadian CPI today. That, again, didn't cause a big move. We had the pound numbers last night. Didn't really cause a move. So, despite of having news events on the docket, things just didn't move in the last since last night. So tonight we have the RBA rate statement. Again, they're looking to cut rates by 50 basis points. But remember, it's the statement that we'll be looking into. Is it a dovish cut? is there a or is it going to be a hawkish cut? So at this point, if you look at the price action, it looks bearish. This is a bigger cut, 50 basis points. So overall, I think initial price action in the Kiwi should be downside, but we'll see where it goes after that. And then again, we have tomorrow or tonight we have the wage price index. We got the Aussie employment report. So there's still things to go through. You just have to kind of look at the schedule and most importantly, not trade when things are quiet. So let's just get into our currency analysis and really take a look at where things are. And as far as, the velocity goes, you can see that there's just Aussie doing well, CAD doing well, and pound doing well. Now, what's doing worse is the Kiwi, the euro, and the Swiss franc. So let's just take a look at these pairings and then really see what the dollar and the yen is up to. So let's get into our possible trades ahead and take a look at some charts.
Do you want to be a professional trader? Maverick Currencies is the oldest US-based Forex and crypto prop trading company that will pay you for trading with our capital. Trade our capital and keep 70 to 80% of the profits. We are looking for traders just like you that are hardworking and motivated. Click the apply link on the top right of this video to see if you have what it takes. That link takes you to a 4-minute video that explains the trader position available, and you read a list of FAQs that answer pretty much all the basic questions you have at this point. After watching the video and reading the FAQs, if you're interested, fill out an application, then you'll watch the full-length recruiting video, and then schedule an interview with one of our traders. Are you our next trader?
Now, let's just start with the currency baskets here. So you can see that we talk about, the dollar. That dollar was really the big mover. And you can see that this thing is just in a very small consolidation phase. This is at a key resistance, which support level, which was the prior resistance. So, maybe look for some consolidation here. But what I find interesting here a little bit is that the bond market, remember the bond market also went pull back last week along with the dollar, but then you can see that the bond market is actually sort of rising a little bit. So there's a bit of a discrepancy, or things are not matching up. Is that the bond market is sort of recovering, but the dollar hasn't really recovered. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. So we don't want to make too much sense of it until we really break some key levels. But right now it looks more like it's in a consolidation phase here. So the dollar, again, doesn't look good. Again, right now it's, above the 20-day moving average, but this thing is just, it doesn't have that movement that we had in the past, in the past couple of weeks. Now, if you look outside of that, one of the themes that we have talked about over and over is these range-bound conditions. As you can see that right now, Swiss franc is still showing me some weakness. It did made a lower low last week, had a big bounce. But then as you can see that this thing continues to be sort of moving or staying below the moving averages. So we're seeing this little volatility playing out in the Swiss franc. Again, I don't have a clear clarity on this one. I did like it on the short side, but then again, I also see there's a lot of back and forth happening in Swiss franc. And then on the comparison side, here we are, euro, same thing. You can see that is catching some movement and then it's pulling back. So there's a lot of back and forth that's taking place. We have the British pound, which again is doing decent here, but we got a resistance right over there. The Canadian dollar, which it did sort of strengthen a little bit, but you can see that this technically, is this just a bear rally or is it a big recovery? So we'll find out. But again, slowly carving out a short-term bottom here. And then the Aussie, I would say that this thing's still looking strong or is holding the levels. Here's a daily chart, and you can see that. Unlike previously, we got a nice rejection and we just pull back. This time, here we are constantly pushing against that ceiling, but we haven't really broken out yet. So you gotta really take that as a bit of a grain of salt that, this thing looks like it wants to go higher, but again, it's not breaking out yet. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what happened with the Aussie. And then here we are with the Kiwi. You can see that last Friday we had a big move. And then pretty much we have given back those gains, a lot of those gains. Overall, it stays, in that big of a range here. So keep in mind is that this is the kind of market condition that, it's not a strong trending market. It doesn't matter wherever you look at. Even the Japanese yen, you can see has, big jumps and then big drops. At this point, where is it going? Who knows? But we are supported by the 20 moving average. We got a highs over here. It got some room to work into. If this really comes back down here and breaks below support, I think then we'll probably see a next leg lower in this Canadian dollar. So as you take a look at all these charts, like nothing really jumps out the most to me here. Here we are with the Aussie USD. You can see this thing has broken above the key resistance level, but maybe this is a consolidation phase that we're getting into, but not a whole lot of activity. We have some key levels to break, but I think it's just stuck in that consolidation phase. We can see the same thing against other things. You look at dollar CAD, stuck in a small range. Here we are with the pound dollar kind of range bound. So this is where you just get to set some alerts and see which sides to break and alerts you. Tonight we have the RBNZ rate statement. So let's just take a look at the outlook for the RBNZ. So here's the Kiwi. Let's just go and take a look at currency basket on the Kiwi here. So like I said, in a range bound condition, I like to be buyer around the support and seller around the resistance. Where do we are in this little cycle here? We're kind of like more in the middle here. So at this point, I think initial price action, I expect to be a little bit on the downside. You can see that we had a nice massive rally off that support level last Friday, but then we give back a lot of those gains here. So as we go into it, I think the first thing got to take a look at, look at a 15-minute chart, see which side, what kind of price action you get initially. And you get the established high and the low and see which way it breaks. Aussie's a good example. As we were kind of watching Aussie last night, it just never really break above those key levels. Here's a 15-minute chart. We got the resistance, we got the support. It just didn't have any breakout or any follow through. So we need to get some follow through in order to jump on those on those trades here. So again, I just want to add some caution here. Things are just sideways. It's just not a screaming buy or sell. And these are the times where it's easy to get frustrated and just make a lot of trades, but it's just not really panning out. Here we are with this. Dollar yen. You can see that this thing also had a big move down. So at this point, maybe it wants to go higher a little bit in the short term. But it's the lack of continuity is there when things are sideways a little bit. We just need to sort of stay on the sideline and just add some alerts and see whichever side it's going to break. And then, we can look for those trades accordingly. In the shorter term, I personally, if I would have to take a look at it, I think dollar probably drift a little bit sideways. I'm getting mixed signals with the bond market, so I don't really have a clear idea where the dollar is going. Clearly, it's not really moving aggressively higher or lower, so you're just missing the energy. But I think it could consolidate a little bit here. This is a strong level of support. So really, we got to take a look at the Kiwi report tonight and see what can we pair with. So the first thing I want to take a look at is Aussie Kiwi. And you can see that the Aussie Kiwi is, we got a nice little move yesterday right up to the resistance. So let's just take a look at the daily chart. So you can see that this is where we got a big resistance here at about 111.60. We're sitting at about 111.40. So I don't really love the risk to reward here. I need to get that confirmation above that breakout area, about 1160 area. So then this is where, if it breaks out, you can see that then the next level is a little bit higher to touch that. But in the last couple of years, we really haven't broken that level yet. So again, the same thing. Take a look at this, kind of understand that you're working with some overhead resistance. We need to get that confirmation above that. If it does like this, then we'll probably get a reversal. But at this point, with this little candlestick here, I think initially we'll test it out, break it out of it. And then after that, we'll see which way it goes. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of excitement on this one. A lot of that is already kind of priced into the price action. If you look at the Kiwi here, it already sort of beaconed ahead of it. So depending on the statement, we probably see some movement off of it. But remember, look for that follow through. Look for on a 15-minute candle. Look for the initial high and the initial low, and see whichever side it breaks. usually it follow that direction. So in conclusion, we got the RBNZ rate statement tonight. We'll be watching and looking to trade that. Outside of that, keep the powder dry. Can't emphasize enough that when things go quiet, you need to sort of cut back on your activity, because this is where things not making a whole lot of sense. It's just not moving enough, and it's easy to get frustrated. We had a lot of volatility in the last 4 weeks. Maybe it's just a little short-term period where we're getting that low volatility period. But you got to be active when the markets are active and be inactive when markets are inactive. So that's the game plan here, keeping the powder dry. We'll look at the Kiwi tonight, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow. Thanks for joining here. See you next one. Happy trading.